Hey guys, it's Pup C here, and it's time to recap the week in vegan news. So this is going to be for this first week of February 2025, and all the articles I'm referencing, they can have direct links found to them off of my BlueSky account. I post everything first on BlueSky. Pretty much daily I post things there. There's always something happening in the vegan world. Vegan chocolates, vegan activists, vegan laws getting put into place for animal rights. So yeah, you can always go to my account on BlueSky. My handle is Pup C Raw. So yeah, that's me. But anyways, let's start right at the beginning of the week, 7 days ago. I had posted about vegan chocolates. Okay, when I first went vegan, I remember there wasn't even chocolate that I could find available. It was literally just carob chips, carob. It was so disappointing. So now there's full-on gourmet chocolate boxes created in that heart shape for Valentine's Day. I just cannot even believe how far things have come in such a short amount of time. So there's that list of best of vegan Valentine's Day chocolate. It might seem silly, but it's really exciting for me personally. Also, there was this new company that I found out about called A Bit Weird. It's supposed to be a charitable organization, and they focus on spreading the message of animal rights and veganism through comedy. So one of the quotes from them is, they plan to expand vegan awareness by disarming people through humor, silliness, and fun, so that people don't see them as another vegan brand lecturing them about their life choices. That's what I love. Honestly, I think there's many roads to Rome, as they say. So I do appreciate all the types of vegan activists. So like these guys that do it in a really like sideways way, like coming in through the side, through humor. I'm your friend. I want to show you things in a non-threatening way. Love it. Lots of people respond to it. I also appreciate the hardcore activists who are like, these are the graphic images of what's going on. You think you love pork? You think you love burgers? Well, this is what it really is. This is the face of what you're eating. This is the torture and pain. I don't like to go into that because honestly, I'm already vegan and that stuff just breaks me down when I see it. I just cannot. So I don't engage in that myself a lot because it's just too hard for me to live a normal life and be immersed in that. So, but I do appreciate it. I appreciate that those activists are out there spreading awareness, because honestly, when I first went vegan, I had no idea what it was. And when I started looking it up, that's what I found were those graphic images and videos and just in your face, hard-hitting information about, what happens to animals. And it, I would say, traumatized me, but, it did, and rightfully so, because that's what's happening in the world, and you have to know, you have to be aware. But ever since I saw that, I cannot not be vegan. I cannot, eat those little animals and just know what's going on. And it sounds crazy because you would think, well, doesn't everyone know if they eat meat what it is? Kinda. But I know I came up from a meat-eating family. I'm the only veggie one. My sister now, which is so exciting. I have one brother who's vegetarian and one sister who just recently went vegan. And it is so exciting because my whole life I was like the weird one. So I know what it's like coming from that meat-eating background, and you don't think about these things whatsoever. You don't consider it at all, that these are actually animals, and yeah, getting chopped up doesn't feel good. And not just that, but I won't go too far down the rabbit hole because it's very upsetting, and a lot of you guys probably already know this, but you're just not aware of how cruel humans can be, unnecessarily so. And a lot of times things get painted in this idyllic picture of, oh, they live a nice life on a farm and then quickly they die and then we eat them and it's a circle of life. Well, that's not the case. I mean, if that was the case, I don't even think there would be as much animal rights activism, because that doesn't sound as bad as the reality of industrialized, farming. And anyways, I did not mean to go down that rabbit hole. Bringing it back to the original point. which was, I love that there are so many different paths to spread vegan awareness, animal rights awareness, and the fact that this company does it in a goofy, silly, fun way, I really appreciate it. And I also appreciate all those other mediums to spread the message. So to me, they're all valid, they're all fantastic, love it all. Moving on, I guess there was this amazing carrot cake recipe that had been kept under wraps for 18 years, but that just got leaked, so I posted the recipe on my BlueSky account. Some people reposted it and were really excited, and they're like, oh my god, I'm gonna make this today. So heck yeah, carrot cake lovers, heck yeah, go get that carrot cake, make it. It sounds fun and fantastic for you guys. There was something I thought was really cool. It was in Barcelona. A company who produces plant-based meats, they parked a little truck outside of where medical students were taking their test, I guess, to become future doctors. So it had this big message on the side of it to increase awareness of the fact that plant-based diets increases people's life expectancy by 10 years. So a lot of times you hear it, doctors go through all of medical school and get maybe a day of nutrition. And then is that at all touching upon the fact that plant-based diets are so much healthier and better for you? No. I mean, medical school seems to be focused on important stuff, like trauma and, how to correct illnesses that have already developed, not necessarily prevention or any of this other stuff. So I thought that was cool that this company did it. And I'm going to butcher the name. The company is Heura. So, Heura. It's a company that's not as popular here in the States, so I haven't really seen their product line. Apparently in Spain, they must have a big product line. Love it for them. But yeah, I do appreciate that they're out there trying to tell future doctors of the world more about plant-based lifestyles and how healthy it is, Get them on the vegan wagon, and then they can pass that on to their patients. Love it, love it, love it. Something else that I found out about this past week is there's a thing called V March, like the month of March, and V for vegan, of course. So we have here January veganism, so Veganuary. It's a big thing. I think they said there was over 25 million people that signed up on the website to go vegan for January, which is awesome. But in China, according to the Chinese calendar, it made more sense for them to try it in March. So obviously it doesn't make sense for them to call it Veg March. That's a crazy way to say it. So their Veganuary is going to be V March for Vegan Spring March. Yay! So that's something that's launching in the next month over in China. So we'll keep an eye on it, see how it works out. There's so much great vegan Chinese food, and I've personally been to a lot of vegan Chinese restaurants, and they're very tasty. So I'm excited to see what pops out of there. Also, there was an article that plant-based companies, the most important thing for more of society to incorporate them into their grocery shopping trips and buy more of these vegan meat products, the biggest key is making it affordable. It kind of is a no-duh, of course, but affordability is everything. And so when I saw this article about how important it is for vegan meats to be on par or cheaper than regular meats, I immediately thought of IKEA. And if you've never been, IKEA, they have a restaurant, and then they have downstairs where you pick up all your items and check out and shop. It has another little cafe with ready-made foods. And they have 2 types of vegan hot dogs and then a regular meat-based hot dog. And I'm like, that's perfect. I wonder if they could release their data. Because the vegan hot dogs, both of them are cheaper than the meat-based one. So if this study is accurate, that all people care about is cheaper products, then they should be killing it at IKEA with their vegan hot dog sales. So I want to know. I want to know what that looks like. And if you've not seen them, check it out. I had one a while back. It was the first vegan hot dog they released, and I loved it because at first I didn't want to try it. It looked crazy. I'm like, that's a lot going on with this hot dog. I'm not sure. But when I ate it, amazing. Absolutely amazing. You could taste the vegetable in the hot dog, which not everyone wants to do. I know when I first went vegan, I didn't like anything that tasted like veggie. I wanted it to taste like meat so much. And at that time, there was not really any product that did so. Now I'm completely different. I don't want anything to taste like meat. It makes me disgusted. I want it to taste like veggie. I want it to look and smell like veggie. I want to know what I'm eating. So this first vegan IKEA hot dog, you could see like the kale in it. And I think it was like carrot in there. And it just looked so colorful. And it tasted freaking amazing. Absolutely amazing. And the second vegan hot dog they put out that they still have is looks like a regular hot dog. It's competing with the standard hot dog you would imagine. So anyways, interesting. I would love to get insight into how their sales are doing for those. Anyways, that might be a boring tangent, but it's something that I'm curious about. I also love these lists. I posted one where people went through all the different vegan products at certain grocery store chains like Trader Joe's. And I'm super jealous of people who live by Trader Joe's because now I live in the state of Hawaii and there is no Trader Joe's here. So sad. Even though their theme is very aloha friendly. They have the aloha shirts. It's very Hawaii. So I would love to see a Trader Joe's here. I think it's not financially reasonable for them to open up a store just because of the shipping cost and how much that would be, but other stores made it happen, so come on, Trader Joe's. Anyways, great little list I posted about cool vegan items you could get there, but honestly everything's super clearly labeled, so if you do shop at Trader Joe's, you're gonna see vegan all over the place. It's just a fabulous store for vegans to shop at. Another article I posted was recipes. I'm going to be real. I post so many recipe articles because sometimes I see people writing to the world like, hey, I'm vegan. What the heck do I eat? And I know I didn't know what to eat when I first became vegan. So I like posting these. And even for people who are curious about vegan or vegetarian, if they have something that looks tasty and they want to try, give them a recipe. It's free. Get, the ingredients, try it out, make it. If there's something that you want to eat that sounds good, like spinach artichoke dip, I love it. If you can make a vegan version and love it, fantastic. Now you're buying less animal products when you make that item. And there's just so much out there that you can do now. There's cookbooks. Oh my gosh. So many cookbooks available. I posted, there's a list of 13 innovative vegan cookbooks that I posted up, but just go to your local bookstore. There's a whole vegan vegetarian section, and I highly recommend you buy a book that resonates with you, where the foods, at least some of them, are recognizable, that look tasty to you, that sound familiar. I know I bought a vegan cookbook when I first went vegan, and I didn't have a lot of money, so that was my one cookbook. Although at the time, they didn't really have a ton of vegan cookbook options, I'll admit that. But I bought one, I think it was all Thai cuisine, and I never really ate Thai food at that time, and I didn't like a lot of the flavors. So it was such a waste of money. I made one thing, and I'm like, this is awful, and it made such a big portion. I'm like, oh my god, now I have to eat this food, and I spent all this money, and so if you're gonna get a vegan cookbook, get one that it looks tasty, it seems a little familiar, at least a little bit, so you get some recipes that you'll really love. So that's probably a common sense thing. Maybe I was just silly and young, but that's what happened. So avoid that pitfall. Don't just buy some random vegan cookbook. Look at it a little. See if it looks good. Something else interesting that popped up in the news this week. The Department of Defense, they have been heavily investing in food innovation and specifically looking at getting away from animal products. So that's very interesting. It's the United States of America Department of Defense, and they have some of this as public information where you can kind of see what they're thinking, their studies, the results. A quote from it that I particularly thought was important was, feeding animals instead of people is not just inefficient and a bad business equation. It takes 25 pounds of feed to get 1 pound of cow, for example, furthering the need for deforestation to grow more animal feed. But it also lacks in resiliency. And the big thing, this whole article from the Department of Defense was about resiliency, and making sure that we're doing things with our food practices that are going to be sustainable for the future. And consuming so much of animal products, it's not sustainable. It doesn't make a lick of sense. All this stuff is just things that vegan activists have been screaming for years, but it's nice that it's getting so mainstream that the Department of Defense is posting articles about this. That's fantastic. Love to see it. And then, of course, I did post more Valentine's things. There's so many great places to eat for Valentine's Day if you're vegan. Make those dinner reservations now if it's not too late. Oh my gosh, picnics, fabulous. Valentine's, oh, so exciting coming up. All right. Something else I found out about this week, it was a brand new food item I've never heard of before. There was a couple of them. The first one was duckweed, aka water lentils. I have never heard of duckweed before in my life, but apparently it just became officially approved as a food product in the European Union this week. So fantastic. A quote about this food is, the plants can produce over 6 times as much protein per hectare as soy, and each one divides into every 3 days. So they split into 2 parts every 3 days. That means fast growth. It allows for exponential growth. So these plants are super easy to grow, packed with protein, super nutritious, and it looks cool. So imagine a very tiny green colored lentil. That's kind of what it looks like to me. But it's called duckweed. Some people call it water lentils. And yeah, some new exciting food that I think probably will get used a lot more in recipes moving forward. So I'm sure you'll see a lot of that in the future. Something really encouraging in the news this week was getting a list of universities and colleges around the world that have just been having the students come out and support vegan menus for their campuses. So the headline was, students at Bristol and Imperial College London vote for 100% plant-based catering. Fantastic. Hats off to you guys. And it's not just those 2 colleges. They had mentioned about 13 other UK, Netherlands, and Austria schools where the students are backing the move to 100% vegan on their campus. I just think that's amazing because it just says really good things about the future. Veganism is growing. It's not going to stop. It just makes complete sense if you care about the environment, you know? And a lot of the younger kiddos, that's one of the big concerns is the environment. And guess what? Veganism is the most helpful way you can go towards making it a better, more hospitable environment for all of us. So heck yeah, college campuses, heck yeah, keep going vegan. Sometimes I post random things that I'm not necessarily interested in, like about football players who are vegan or bodybuilders, but I just hear too often about people talking about, do you get your proteins? You'll be shriveling away if you're vegan. You know, just silly little arguments, which I don't even know how people can make them anymore because there's so much evidence against it. But because people still do say these things, I do find it important to highlight when I see articles about, you know, the top 5 vegan bodybuilders in the world. And, you know, put those names out there because maybe someone would be inspired. Like, no way. What's someone? Leia Coots, she is, you know, a bodybuilder who I respect. Or Tor Washington. Woo. I hope I'm not butchering these names. But there's, you know, a top 5 bodybuilder list that got, you know, put out there, and why these people are vegan, and, you know, all their stats and how impressive they are, which is awesome. But I'll always post things about sports and vegan leaders in the sports world, but I I'm not even going to pretend that I know who they are or even like what all the sports are about. So I'm sorry. I'll share the information, but I don't have a lot of in-depth things to say about it. Also, there was this really cool article about telomere length. So I know a little bit about that. Like, the older you get, the shorter your telomeres are. And so when they get short enough, you're dead. That's in a tiny nutshell, but basically that's what I heard. So there was a study showing that plant-based food consumption correlates with increased telomere length. And so basically it's just saying that when you eat a vegan diet, eating lots of plants, you're going to stay young on a biological level. So that was really cool. And I do love these reports that have more scientific data, so you can kind of like look into it yourself. It's not just someone talking and saying things. There's actual, evidence, peer-reviewed scientific literature about this. So I like posting that, making it nice and clear. Oh my gosh. Today is Super Bowl Sunday. I barely know that. I only know that because I've been seeing articles like, great foods to make, vegan style for a Super Bowl party. Yay. So I shared it. Or like, football players who are vegan. Cool. I will say the ones that I saw on this list, like maybe I'll say 5 that they mentioned, was Griff Whalen, Colin Kaepernick, Cam Newton, David Carter, Derek Morgan. I think I said all those names correctly. But if you're into football, those guys are vegan and they can tell you all about why. So there's like not any sport where I think you would be impeded eating a vegan diet, and I just think you would thrive. And I'm not one to speak on it, but leaders of these sports who are vegan can definitely share, their personal experience, and proof is in the pudding. You can see how good they do. So anyways, one more article, more health related, had to do with respiratory health. So it was just showing with this research that eating fruits and vegetables is excellent for your lung health. And it goes into the details of that study, specifically looking at the lungs. Of course, it'll also say things like, hey, smoking, not a good idea. That's probably the number one thing you should stop right away if you are having like bad lung health. Let's just stop smoking. But when it comes to diet, definitely fruit and vegetables is the way to go. And after you see enough of these articles, you almost want to roll your eyes. Like, yeah, another article about how great veganism is for health. But I will keep sharing them just because I do hear the opposition so much, where they say veganism is not good for your health, which, again, I think is insane because, like, there's just too much scientific backed evidence speaking in favor of vegan diets and how great it is for you. So I'm just going to keep posting it until I stop hearing people say, negative things about a vegan diet. Some products that are coming out that just got announced this week is Beyond Meat Company. So they just released 2 new types of steak. So if you love chimichurri steak or Korean barbecue style steak, they have those products now available. So yay if you love that stuff. In Germany, there was a cool article about how meat and dairy producers in Germany, they are, quote unquote, committed to developing reduction strategies for CO2 intensive animal ingredients and are effectively marketing their plant-based ranges and communicating the benefits of plant-based diet. So basically, meat and dairy producers in Germany are actively studying and promoting plant-based diets. They're changing the game. They're changing their THEIR, their game, and they're going to be putting out plant-based items. I love it. You worry that these big companies will never want to change, will always, if they're selling animal products, how can you defeat these big companies? Some of them can read the writing on the wall, and they're just like, this is not the future. And they will stay a big profitable company, but they just change what they're selling. Instead of torture and death and animal products, they're going to sell plant-based healthy products. I say healthy and I immediately am like, maybe not, but plant-based at least, you know? Something that's funny to me is that veganism can have so many health benefits, and it's just, that's not the only thing. Like, if you want to eat junk food, there's so much vegan junk food, you know, and a lot of these companies that produce these like plant-based meats, maybe it's not as healthy as eating just fruit and vegetable. I know it's not, as a matter of fact, but if that's where you're at, where you want junk foods, you want pepperoni pizzas and hot dogs, and you want all that stuff, like, there's a vegan version, and a lot of times it's gonna be a lot more healthy for you. So that's why I'm happy that it's still being produced, and I'll always promote that stuff, is because a lot of people love it and they're not going to change their eating styles. If they want junk food, give them junk food, you know, but at least it doesn't have to hurt anyone else, like the animals, and it also helps the environment when they eat the plant-based version. So I know that sometimes people, they get real Puritan and they want veganism to be perfect and healthy and all these things, but just meet the people where they are. If they want the ice creams, give them the ice creams, vegan style. So anyways, I'm happy that bigger companies, even if it is just Germany right now, that they're switching slowly, fast, however they're doing it, whatever percentages, they are moving forward. They're switching from just all animal products that they sell to including and promoting plant-based products. And a lot of them will probably switch completely, because I do believe that veganism is the future, and we will be 100% plant-based if the human race lasts long enough. So I see it, I know it. It only makes sense. We can't just keep going the way we're going. Anyways, moving back on to the news articles of this week, the UK government has invested 75 million euros in alternative protein innovation. Bravo, UK government, bravo. I haven't seen anything like that for the US government, and I don't know if I will with this administration, but if I ever see like big governments supporting these, I'll always post about it. I think it's so cool. They're, you know, they see it's the way of the future. It's helpful for the environment. It's what the people want, you know? So they're going to fund research and all kinds of things to help move that along. I love it. So there's a whole article about where that money is being distributed, who it's going to. But one of the quotes from the article was that the 75 million euro in alternative protein innovation, rapid progress has been made towards boosting public investment in this plant-based foods, cultivated meat, and fermentation-made ingredients. So that's kind of everything. It's not just all made from plants. Some of it is cultivated meat. That could be kind of a hot debate in the vegan world, because sometimes people think, you know, cultivated meat, it's still meat, even though you're not, you know, growing and killing all these cows or pigs or whatever. You just have a little meat cell that you grow in a lab. I'm down for it because it's less harmful, you know. Let's take the path of least harm. So if someone really wants it to be biologically meat, biologically this is cow flesh, but a cow did not have to die for it, whatever, give it to them. You know, I personally don't see a problem with it, so fabulous. I do prefer plants myself. I think it would be better if people just ate the plants, and maybe we'll get there. But in the meantime, this could be a great thing to reducing harm and suffering. So absolutely include cultivated meat in our plan towards a better world. Heck yes. Okay, I did say there were 2 food items that were new that popped out. The second one was, I had a hard time wrapping my head around it. The first one I had mentioned to you was duckweed. I've never heard of duckweed or water lentils before. The second one, it was, okay, again, I might be saying this wrong. The spelling of it is Solein. Looks like Solon to me. So hopefully I'm saying it right, Solon. But basically Solon, it's a new food being marketed, made from a Finnish single-celled organism that grows with CO2, hydrogen, and nitrogen. So the company developing this food, they call it an air-based protein. So they're like, yeah, it's protein made from air. Best that I could understand it in the most layman's terms is it's a vegan protein powder. And it basically can be whatever you want. You want to use it to whip up some ice cream, to make a burger, to make a cream, to butter. It could be whatever you want. But the base ingredient is just this single-celled organism from Finland. And to have it grow, again, they use CO2, hydrogen, nitrogen. So it's very interesting. I'm like, it's a super-powered nutritional yeast. I don't know. I'm sure as it develops and they start using it in food, we'll get a better understanding of this. But yeah, it just got regulatory approval in the EU for them to continue working with this protein and developing products around it. So I'm sure we're going to see a lot of Solon in the future, if that is how you say this, Solon. Until I hear it said otherwise, I'm just going to call it Solon. So that is something that was really interesting and something I never heard of before this week. Another thing that was cool is people in breweries, they have all this leftover sludge, I guess. So when you make a beer, you have spent brewer's grain and they just throw it out, this sludgy brewer's grain that they had used. So now they've developed a way to turn it into vegan milk and leather. So it sounds wild, but hey, it's less waste. And also it sounds kind of cool. They say that the milk has a rich and creamy taste, 25% less sugar than most oat milks. And honestly, I'm down to give it a shot. Go ahead, let me have the beer production leftover milk. Like, let's bring it on, you know? Oat milk turned out great. People freaking love oat milk, so I'm sure this one can be awesome too. I do want to try though, so if I ever see it out there, I'm definitely going to give it a shot. And for the vegan leather, I all the time hear people upset about, hey, pleather is terrible for the environment. Anything that's labeled as vegan leather is just plastic, So now you can use these leftover brewer's grains from beer production and turn that into leather, okay? That's not plastic, y'all. That's recycling and making something beautiful out of something wasteful. So fantastic. You get two things out of one old thing. The big problem of the week, I think everyone has seen in the news, is the egg shortage. There's so many folks freaking out about it, sold out everywhere. So I found a great article about how to use all different kinds of ingredients to replace eggs in all the different ways that people want to use eggs. So that was really interesting because not everyone, but a lot of people have heard of applesauce and baking, which I love. That one's a good trick. And there's Just Egg, which is an egg alternative product on the market. You can make great omelets and things with, but there's a bunch of other stuff too. They were using flaxseed and coconut milk and tofu and just a whole list of stuff with how you can replace an egg however you want to use it. So that was interesting. I've been seeing more and more of these too. Some of the people have been posting photos of this to make it more clear, just like a photo guide of what are you trying to do with an egg? Okay, here's what you use to replace it, the vegan version. And very helpful. Maybe this will convert some people away from using eggs. You never know. Silver linings, the egg shortage could really help out the world and expand their awareness and what they can use. So, good. All right, we're coming up to just yesterday's news. I saw this amazing ad series from PETA. So today for Super Bowl Sunday with football games and all that, it's very expensive to have ads out. Do people even watch TV anymore? I wonder what the ratings will be like. I never watch football anyways, but more and more people don't watch mainstream TV. They'll just look at things on YouTube and whatever. So I'm wondering if it still is expensive to have ads out on Super Bowl Sunday. It probably is, but PETA bought 2 ad slots, at least 2, because I saw 2 of the ads that they're releasing today, and they are fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Usually with PETA, it can be a little intense because they'll show a lot of graphic images and be super hard hitting. This ad series is just hilarious, and I think it'll really capture people's interest and be very unassuming coming in. It's like about mobsters, and it reminds me of, what's that mob show? Sopranos. It reminds me of Sopranos, which is a hit show. Everyone loves it, right? So it has that vibe, and I'm like, yes, it's going to resonate with people. I think they'll watch it, just watch, because it's funny too. One is against leather, the other one is against wool, and it's just hilarious. So just check it out. I'm sure YouTube has it. In my article, I linked to it. You could go to, I found it from TMZ actually. TMZ reported on these ads that PETA put out, and they had both of them in their article. And they're so funny. You have to watch it. They're like, leather, forget about it. Wool, forget about it. But it's so funny. Okay, anyways, yes, highly recommend you check out those PETA ads that are playing today. Oh my gosh. Okay, lastly, a little bit, we'll end on a real happy note. When it comes to fur production, levels have plummeted on fur production. It's the lowest level in years. So officially, global production of fur has dropped 85% in the last 10 years, reaching its lowest level since 2010. Amazing. I think this is a banger of a way to end this podcast today with such really good news, such a steep drop in something that's so cruel and insane to do, which is stripping animals of their fur and using it for yourself. Ugh. It's nice to see that people are making the connection that this is the animal's skin, the animal's body. Let it have its own fur. Leave those animals alone. The next thing I immediately think of is it's the same with leather, guys. But I'll take people reducing their fur consumption, absolutely. Fur production down 85% in the past 10 years. Heck yes. Love to see it. Let's keep it up. Anyways, that was the news for this past week. And until next time, guys, bye.